Solidarity to Julian Assange, as we have been at every appearance that he's made in this court. Today, we face something different. We face a Spanish judge who is taking a witness statement from Assange in a case that Julian Assange and WikiLeaks are the complainants in. They are taking Julian Assange's testimony about the surveillance and the invasion of his rights and privacy in the Ecuadorian Embassy. Because, thanks to journalists outside this country, we now know what was going on in the Ecuadorian Embassy. There was a buzz all over Julian Assange's four quarters, even in the toilet. There were bugs and cameras and live streaming of every visitor to Julian Assange in the embassy. Journalists were filmed, medical doctors were filmed, and his lawyers were filmed. His lawyers, against all legal precedent, were filmed having conferences with him. That alone should have been enough to stop the extradition of Julian Assange in its tracks, but it hasn't. Because the British judicial system, which tried very, very hard to stop today's event taking place, where Julian was being called as a witness about the surveillance he suffered. The British tried for 3 months to stop this questioning taking place. They do not want people to know what happened inside that embassy because it was illegal and because it affects very much the court case against Julian Assange for his potential extradition. If you look back some decades, you will have heard of the Pentagon Papers. This is the case where Daniel Ellsberg in the USA leaked documents showing all the lies about the Vietnam War that the US government was involved in. And the US government prosecuted him. And part of what they did to investigate Daniel Ellsberg was to break in the CIA and the White House under Nixon, broke in to his psychiatrist's office to steal his medical files. And those were the grounds on which the case against Daniel Ellsberg was dismissed. It was a great legal victory. It was held that the US government and the CIA had acted unlawfully and rendered the charges against him unable to be pursued. That was an important legal precedent. If we look at what's happened to Julian Assange, we know now that he was filmed continuously and that the firm involved, the company involved, UC Global, handed over all those films to the US intelligence services, including his conferences with his lawyers. So the US intelligence services know all about what was said in those conferences. And yet, it is one of the highest democratic rights that you can speak to your lawyer privately. That is your democratic right. But we know that the USA, in its gangster-like behaviour against Assange, and the British government, which is a junior partner in that gangsterism, or perhaps an equal partner in that gangsterism, we know what they have done to deny all legalities and all democratic rights to Julian Assange. He has been arbitrarily detained, the UN have ruled. He has suffered psychological torture, the UN has ruled. And yet, those international laws count for nothing for the US and British government. They count for nothing. And if we are going to accept a world in which there are no laws and no protections for anybody, for journalists, for people suffering oppression, then we are living in a world of gangsters. We are living in a world of a heavily militarized mafia state. That is what we're living in. And the case of Julian Assange is a crucial one for fighting back and saying there are international laws. We demand our democratic rights. We demand free speech. We demand journalism. Because in the struggles ahead that we will face here and in other countries, if we don't have those rights, we are living under fascism. If we have no democratic rights, if strikes are banned, if journalism is banned, if free speech is banned, how are we going to conduct our struggles? And there will be many struggles ahead. And that is why certainly I am here to fight for Julian Assange. And I hope all of us know that we must continue the fight, we must build the fight, we must build the campaign until Julian Assange is a free man again.